We just don't know what to do with people's pain. We want to comfort them and say something that's going to make them feel good. But in this situation, what are you going to say? If you have ever lost a loved one in a sudden, unexpected way, my heart goes out to you. Obviously, our loss is horrible and heartbreaking, but there is something specifically traumatic, mind-boggling, just bizarre about losing a person suddenly when they are alive with you one day and the next day they are gone. And you have to get used to that idea. It's almost impossible. I had a very, very hard time just understanding it and accepting it for a very long time. I do want to let you know that there is peace that comes eventually, that we get used to this idea and it becomes acceptable and we learn to move on with life. I have lost my mom in June 2022 very suddenly. She went to bed one day feeling totally fine. My sister, living across the street from her, saw her, talked to her, everything was fine. And she went to bed. She never woke up. She was home alone. We found her the next day. My sister being unfortunately the one who found her going through this horrible trauma of finding her mom that was gone for many hours. So that was horrific. I was here in US. My parents at the time, my mom and dad living in Poland. My family still lives in Poland. So when I received the news, it was very hard for me that I was so far away, and as shocked as I had to focus on the fact that I need to buy a ticket and get myself over the ocean and be with my family in this horrible, crazy time. When it's this sudden, it is so insane to just understand what's happened. And I remember that when I got the news, I was feeling like I'm not here, like this is a movie. At the same time, I felt like I'm going to have a heart attack. The world was spinning around. I was outside. I was about to take my kids on the walk, and like my kids were very little, both under 3. So I have these 2 little kids, and my dad gave me the news, and it was like the whole world was spinning, and it was crazy. I don't want to make this video too personal and tell you how I felt and what every detail of the story. I want to give you an overview of my grief journey and healing and how I found peace and what grieving has done to me, not only in negative way, because in a way it was transformative in a positive and enriching way. What I have come to find pretty quickly after losing my mom is that death, loss, grief is #1 taboo topic in our society. We cannot talk about it. People don't want to talk about it, even amongst family members. Let's focus on the positive. Let's remember the good memories. People would ask me how my dad's doing, but not how I am doing, because we just don't know what to do with people's pain. We want to comfort them and say something that's going to make them feel good. But in this situation, what are you going to say? People would say things like, oh, that's good that she went away peacefully, or just hold on to the great memories that you have, which I don't really know if her passing was peaceful. And I also have a lot of not so great memories because my relationship with my mom was complicated in a way. We had a very loving relationship, but also complicated a little bit. I would say peaceful, loving, but a little complicated. So as much as this is such a universal experience, because everyone will lose a person and experience death in a family, friends, this is inevitable, and this is just, we all gonna go through it. So as much as this is a universal thing, it's also very personal, because there's gonna be a part of you or a time frame when you're going to feel super alone, just very alone, because nobody had their relationship with this person like you did. So they might not understand your feelings, your anger, your resentment, your grief, your regrets. Like, all the things are going to come up, all the feelings, sometimes the feelings that I did not expect, a lot of anger, resentment, memories that I thought were like not that important to me were coming back. At first I was in a shock and denial, and I just don't remember the first few weeks, months. And I also have a lot of memory gaps. When I look at pictures from like a year and a half ago, I kind of don't really remember where exactly, what was that, when was that. Just confusion. There's no right way to grieve, but what I can tell you is that the most effective, I don't know the right word, way to grieve is to let yourself feel all the feelings. If you're feeling angry and resentful, if you're having some thoughts, maybe negative things about that person come up, let it be. Maybe journal about it. Maybe talk to a therapist or a spiritual leader or a guide, somebody who is not your family, somebody who can look at it with distance and can just not judge you. Because if you talk to your family about, feelings about this person who passed away, they might have their own feelings and their own point of view about the situations that you're thinking about. So it's good to talk to people, just not people who are also grieving. I think, in my experience, a best friend could be that person, a priest could be that person. Just to let those feelings out and let yourself be heard, but not judged. A lot of feelings come up and it feels like a roller coaster. One day you're like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm over, like I'm okay with this. The next day something comes up, a memory, something that triggers it, and a song, a scent, a place, and you will be like, again, it will feel like it happened yesterday. But as the time goes by, this happens to me more rarely. First Christmas was so hard. I was just angry and like frozen, and really had a hard time with my dad sending me a card with only his name on it, and I just couldn't. I just still processing. The last Christmas that we just had was much easier because I'm at peace with it. And there's a part that is just very natural in us that you can't live in that state of confusion and denial and anger for a very long time. So naturally, your mind will just accept it as reality. You may feel like nobody understands you, but really it is nobody's obligation to understand you. And I started looking at it a different way. I started realizing that I need to be my best friend. Like, I need to find strength and self-love, self-acceptance in this grief, and be strong enough to handle it and not expect other people to understand me, to give me more grace, to just know what I'm going through. Because months would go by and people would just forget about it and I would still feel hurt. Mother's Day, my mom's birthday, my parents' anniversary, my kid's birthday. It's like, usually people don't, friends might not think that your kid's birthday triggers something for you because your mom cannot call or text or see or send a present for your kids. So people may not understand you, and they don't have to. You have to let go of that like anger and resentment towards other people that they are not here for you. Be there for yourself. I started being better about self-discipline and working out, going on walks, reading, just exploring myself, mindfulness, meditation, journaling, all the things that I see that are helping me on a daily basis. You have to treat yourself gently, like you went through something very traumatic, very difficult. Yes, everybody experiences loss, but it's so hard to lose somebody that you loved. And it's not just that we lose a person, we also lose the future that we saw with them. I expected my parents to retire together. They had so many plans, money saved up, house was renovated, my mom was about to retire. So all these things that we thought are gonna be a part of our reality are not there anymore. Be gentle with yourself, be kind. You might be needing a break from work. Whatever that is, you might need more help. Be gentle, be graceful, accept help, and ask for help. Through this experience, I also learned to be alone and enjoy my loneliness. this is when often the saddest things come up, when we're other people, when we're busy, when we have a lot going on. That's when we can kind of cover up the pain and we can just feel like we're okay. When we're alone, this is where the hardest things come up, memories, things that we wish we've done, said. That's often like evenings and nights. And for me, those times were like I just didn't want to deal with it at first, but once I realized that is necessary, you have to let yourself feel all this stuff. You have to. The longer you push it away and try to hide it and try to be tough, the longer it will take for you to accept it. One thing that helps me is to listen to music that is not necessarily sad, but in some way moves me and releases something from me. Obviously, tears are good. Tears are good. I love to go for a drive, listen to music, and just think about things, remember my mom, and think about our life together, her life, things that I wish she had done. Just there's so much coming up when we listen to music that moves us. I absolutely love that. For some other people, that might be maybe prayer, other things. I don't know. Find something that helps you release those emotions, because the longer we hold on to them, the more anger we build, and it's just gonna take much, much longer. At first, it is absolutely normal to be angry, to be in denial. Like, I didn't want to have my mom's pictures around the house. I didn't want to see the cards that people sent me. I didn't want to, like, I don't know, like, I got a little, like, journal with my mom's, like, handwriting on it from my sister-in-law. I didn't want to look at this. I didn't want to look at the stuff that I brought that were hers. I put it all away. And now it's fine. But it came a time for me to sit down and look at the pictures and look at her Bible and look at her journals and put up her pictures with my kids and just make it a part of my life, because the loss and grief is always going to be a part of your life. That's real. That's just the reality, okay? The person is still in your life, in your memories, in traditions, in the love we share with other people. Maybe there are things that they have done that you didn't like, and you can also learn a lesson from it. Like in the beginning, I said that I came on the other side, like it transformed me in a way, and I feel so much more resilient and stronger, but also more sensitive, more in tune with who I am and other people. And also, I just realized, and I know people say it all the time, that we really don't know how much time we have left, and we really don't know the time and the hour of our passing, our own passing, and other people around us. But when you experience something like this, when it's literally sudden, when you're about to go for a walk with your kids and your dad calls you to say, your mom passed away, it becomes so real. It becomes too real that we really do not know. We really don't know when and how. You can have the most beautiful life planned and the most beautiful future planned, but please don't wait to forgive somebody, to let somebody know that they hurt you, to forgive somebody, to set boundaries, and to love yourself, to be good to yourself, to accept yourself, to start pursuing the things that you want to pursue. And I know that sounds kind of like cheesy in a way, right? Because like, oh yeah, just you don't know how much time you have left. You really don't know. Don't be afraid to focus on yourself. Change things. Focus on things. Pursue things. Another very important thing that this tragic experience did for me in my life is that I was such a people pleaser, and I stopped. I realized that people really care about themselves first. Always, always. Even if in this situation when I was going through this, I had a lot of people being very insensitive, not really understanding me. And I know I said, don't expect people to understand you. But at the same time, I realized that I am just letting people treat me the way that I find unacceptable and I don't like, and I'm over it. I'm done. I don't want to live like that anymore. So that's why I said that this horrible experience was in a way transformative to me and taught me to stand up for myself. But please give yourself grace and time and be gentle with yourself. It's not like in the movie when they show somebody receive the news, collapse to the floor and cry, then it's the funeral, then they are depressed for 2 weeks, then they get up and move on and they are fine for the rest of their lives. This loss and grief will always be a part of your life, and it will change you forever in not so great ways and maybe some really transformative, powerful ways, and it's really up to you. I know at first it feels impossible that this person is not here anymore, but in a way they are. You will feel like nobody understands you and this world is not a fair place. Why me? Why did it have to happen? Why that way? And lots of different questions. But eventually there comes peace. There comes acceptance and strength. It will come. It's there. And it's in you. Just give yourself grace, time, and don't try to stuff your feelings down and pretend like you're fine when you are not.